Hey dude, remember when I showed you my workshop like a few, I don't know, months ago? You said, oh, you expected to see more tools or something. Well, I've been working on the workshop, so I'll show you what I have at the moment. Yeah, so here's just an overview. I've got lots of storage space and stuff. And then I've got my workbench, and I'll show you a bit more detail. So this is my bench peg, which demounts, so I can fit the various numbers of, yeah, I can fit different fixtures on here, including some vices and stuff. But basically the bench peg is used when I'm filing metal to hold the metal in my left hand and then file it with the right hand, or to saw stuff on. So it's pretty useful. And then I've got all my pliers here, cutters and pliers. I've got my Pendant motor, which is onto which I can put all these tools that I have. So this thing is foot operated. There's a foot pedal here. It's not connected to power now, but you can vary the speed, and you can do various things. You can grind, you can cut, you can polish. I even have a hammer handpiece, which exerts a percussive force. So this is the hammer handpiece. I have a quick change handpiece, which is more convenient. And this is the standard handpiece. So yeah, it just pulls off, and then you can swap it out for a different one. This one is nice because it's got a chuck. It can take tools with a thick diameter, much thicker than this one I currently have in here. So yeah, and then I've got my little anvil here. It's a forming anvil. You see it's got a double curvature, so you can get all kinds of shapes out of this. You put the metal on there and you hammer it with these are my hammers, by the way. So this one has nylon inserts. You can remove these with an Allen key and swap them out for hammer heads with different shapes, and you can form the metal into whatever curves you want. I also have a set of Swage blocks for doing half rounds, half spheres. You would, for example, take a cylinder, put it in one of the grooves, and then knock it with a hammer to bend the metal. There's this one, which has a whole bunch of different grooves in it, some V grooves. Yeah, so there's a lot you can do with that. This one makes half rounds with these balls. That's called a dapping block. Yeah, so I'll cut out there with some copper for my hammers. This one is made from leather or hide. It's a rawhide mallet, so it doesn't mar the metal. When you hit it. Yeah, and got my measuring devices there, my everything. So, and then here I've got my vise, but I can disconnect the vise and install my rolling mill there, which I think you may have seen in my previous video. So I have some pilot hole. I have some holes here underneath this table there's a plate into which these things screw. I made the screw threads myself with a tap and die set. At the moment the Vise is holding a draw plate. It's a plate with conical apertures through which you pull metal with a really big set of tongs made in Germany. So yeah, you grab the steel and you pull it through to make wire or to make tube. You can make tubes with it as well. Yeah, and then I've got everything. Oh, I've got another anvil here. So this one is stainless steel. It's hardened and it has a high polish. So it's a very special piece of metal, this, because you don't often find polished, hardened stainless steel. And you use it in combination with this hammer, which I've shown you before. It's a bit dirty, but it's also hardened and polished. This is to polish metal with the hammer, to either flatten it out or give it a shine. I have a texturing hammer. Yeah, I have all kinds of things. You know, this curved one. I have another tool. Yeah, so I was going to show you. I have these things. They are also used for forming curves into metal. You clamp them into the vise. You can clamp them upside down, and then yeah, you put a sheet of metal in there, and you take a hammer like this one, which has a narrow point, also polished, and then you can knock the metal to shape. So you can make it double curved, because you can see there's a curve going in this direction and there's a curve going in that direction, like a saddle. And by combining saddles of different radii, some of them are really big, like this one, you know, you can make bracelets or complex shapes, like conical shapes or whatever. So yeah, that's interesting. And then I have my soldering equipment. I've got these guys to hold the work while I'm soldering it. This is my fireproof board, calcium silicate board, and I have this charcoal block here, which I solder on, and I have various types of fluxes, high-tech fluxes, liquid and powder form. I apply it with little bottles, and there's a spray canister. So there's this flux you spray over all the metal, and it protects it from the heat. And then the yellow one is for where you want the solder to flow. And my torches, and then I have my chemicals here. I've got an acid there and a base here. So the acid is for cleaning the metal after I've soldered it, and the base is to neutralize it. Yeah, and I've got all my power tools up there. So there's a lot. There is a lot going on in this little room. It's a challenge to keep everything neat, I can tell you that much. I have another bench here where I can sit, where I cut the space out of my legs. But at the moment I've got these boxes in the way. So that's your tour, or workshop tour. Hope you enjoyed it. It's probably very boring for you, but anyway.